New York City police officers were ambushed by mobs, and the new socialist mayor has yet to say anything. Wow, this is terrible.
A planned snowball fight in Washington Square Park on Monday is now drawing sharp criticism after some people began pelting multiple NYPD officers with snow. Tim McNicholas is live in our newsroom to explain. And Tim, what are you hearing?
City, this snowball fight was planned on social media and drew a large crowd to Washington Square Park.
Crazy.
A similar snowball fight happened during the last big snowstorm just weeks ago, but this time around, Commissioner Jessica Tisch says some people went too far. She's calling it disgraceful and an illegal attack on officers.
Yeah.
Videos circulating online show how multiple cops were repeatedly pelted with snowballs. The Detectives Union says people who threw the snowballs at cops should be prosecuted. The Police Benevolent Association agrees.
But these crowds were massive, and that reveals the real problem facing the city right now.
In New York City yesterday, there's a video captured of punks basically hitting cops one after the next. They even go as far as running up to the cops with chunks of snow and smashing it. And these cops do nothing. They say nothing. I guess they feel as if they can't. The mayor doesn't have their back.
They can't.
They'll be the ones who wind up getting sued, and nothing is done. First of all, my entire family is cops, going back all the way to my grandfather. If this would have happened decades ago, when they were all cops, I can tell you right now, all the cops would have walked off the job today by now if the cops saw that the mayor was doing nothing to protect them, especially in this sort of video that we just see there.
Can you imagine if that happened?
So I say to the cops, I have the utmost respect for you all time. I donate to cops. I always am of the blue. But this is one of those times I'm saying, hey man, you're burying more than your pride. Let New York City just watch what it's like without having cops. Move to Florida. We need cops. We'll take you. Go to other states. You don't need to do this.
And the crazy part about this is starting pay for the NYPD, it's less than $60,000 a year to live in one of America's most unaffordable cities. These police can't even afford to live in the area where the people came out of their apartments and went after them.
A little bit more pride in what you do and who you are, because you're not even policing anymore. You're only policing yourself.
Right, that's right.
That's really what it is. You're a cop to police yourself, because this mayor and all the politicians in there, they don't want you. They don't need you. They wanted to defund you. Never forget that. You're subjecting yourself to stress and maybe harm for what? You need to move on. If you're a parent and your kid, and I don't care if it was an 18-year-old or a 27-year-old in that video, if that's one of your kids, you are a bigger piece.
100%. But where did these people that attack the police get the idea that that's okay? They're getting it at home. They're getting it from their parents. They're getting it at their schools. They're getting it at their jobs. It's all around them. That's the attitude here in New York. And you know something? The mayor, by not saying anything, he's just doing what the voters who elected him want.
This was disgraceful. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a game.
Ice is
it was
hard.
A vicious attack, an assault on two New York City police officers.
Mayor Mamdani also reacted on X, saying, I've seen the videos of kids throwing snowballs at NYPD officers in Washington Square Park. Officers, like all city workers, have been out in a historic blizzard, keeping New Yorkers safe and cars moving. Treat them with respect. If anyone's catching a snowball, it's me. Governor Hochul just posted on X as well, saying it's never acceptable to throw anything at a police officer. No major injuries were reported, but police say at least 2 officers took themselves in for treatment. We're also waiting to hear back from the organizers of the snowball fights.
NYPD recruitment. Okay, I was wrong. $60,000 a year, but the average rent for an apartment here is around $4,500 a month. And look at this, after 5.5 years of service, you still can't afford to live here. And what, to get attacked by the very people you're supposed to be protecting and serving? This doesn't make sense. And this is unsustainable, a red flag that a lot of people say could mean the end of the city. Something the mayor was recently asked about.
Marcia, go ahead. So I actually have 2 questions, Mr. Mayor, one on police and one on sanitation. On police, as you know, there's been some pushback about your decision not to hire the 5,000 cops.
Yeah, they're not hiring 5,000 cops now.
But my question is this. Given the fact that your budgeted headcount is 35,000, and you can't even fill that because of attrition, which is like 250 to 300 every single month, what are you going to do to try to convince people that they want to work in New York City as a police officer? Because you actually have a problem with filling the head count that you have now and your reaction to the fact that there's pushback on the 5,000.
Okay, so before we get to his answer, she said 300 police leave the force every single month, which is true. We cannot keep the cops we have. And he just started, and many people say that he ran on an agenda, and the voters that put him in office certainly have an anti-police agenda. But listen to this.
I'll say that we've seen an issue with retention in our department over the last few years. And I've said time and again that for too long, the city has added additional responsibilities onto the NYPD. We see at this point the NYPD responsible for responding to about 200,000 mental health calls a year. And part of our vision
but that wasn't the
in
part.
establishing a Department of Community Safety is to start to take that responsibility of mental health crises and task mental health responders with that work and to ensure that police can focus on the work that they signed up to focus on, which is tackling violent crime across the city.
And the snowball fight and the mayhem, you have to understand, none of this meets the definition of the types of violent crime that the mayor is talking about here. These are just people playing with snow. They're unarmed. Yes, they were climbing on a roof. Yes, they were possibly destroying property, trespassing, doing all that. But we don't need the police for that. That's why we need this Department of Public Safety. So when you hear people say, hey, the whole police force should just quit, I mean, there are people who want to see that happen so they can get this public safety department faster.
The work that's already been done, which is tackling violent crime across the city. And I'm also appreciative of the work that's already been done by my police commissioner within the department of starting to bridge that gap. We're seeing larger and larger classes also being hired towards that end.
Saying that you want to improve their quality of life by saying...
But we just said that we're not going to hire 5,000 cops. So what do you mean larger and larger classes? Like, I get it. We've got a budget crunch, but the budget is so astronomical, there should be no crunch.
Zoran Mamdani ran on a promise to make New York affordable.
A mandate for a city we can afford.
Last week, he unveiled a budget that is, in a word, unaffordable. New York has been fiscally profligate for so long that the headline number, $127 billion, produces little shock. But for perspective, these are similar to the annual expenditures of a mid-sized nation with all the expenses a country requires, like Greece or Thailand, devoted to governing one city.
Because it's fraud.
New York City's budget has ballooned in recent years. Michael Bloomberg's last budget, adopted for fiscal year 2014, totaled about $70 billion. So in little more than a decade, the budget has nearly doubled, growing faster than inflation and faster than the city's
because there's nothing to show for it.
And much of it has happened as the city has been losing the one thing that makes big government easier to finance: people.
Yeah.
New York City's population fell sharply amid the pandemic, with a 5% decline from April 2020 to July 2022. More recent city reports show a rebound, but the city remained below its 2020 baseline as of 2024.
And some people are saying the population loss here has only just begun. Fresh start, same system, banks win, you pay, fees and calls piling up monthly unless you fight back. PDS debt has already helped hundreds of thousands cut their debt and put money back in their pockets, not the banks. And whether you're struggling with credit cards, personal loans, or medical bills, PDS Debt has custom options to help you get out of debt. They go beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and craft a personalized plan designed just for you. There is no minimum credit score required. They're here to help you save more and start putting money back where it belongs, in your pocket. PDS Debt is A-rated by the Better Business Bureau, boasts thousands of 5-star reviews on Google, and holds a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. Why? Because PDS Debt has helped hundreds of thousands of people get out of debt. PDS Debt has customized options for anyone struggling with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills. Plus, PDS Debt understands your specific scenario. They've seen it before and will help provide alternative solutions to becoming debt-free. Plus, every month you wait costs you more money in interest and fees. Best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Do not wait another month. Take back control in 30 seconds. Get your free personalized assessment and the best option for you right here at pdsdebt.com/cash. That's pdsdebt.com/cash. If I were in debt, this is exactly what I would do right here, pdsdebt.com/cash. Now, let's get back to the video.
The arithmetic is brutal. A larger bill is divided among fewer payers. Per person, the imbalance
Taxes have
is
to go
stark.
up. They have
Using
to.
the Lincoln Institute's fiscally standardized numbers, New York's general spending in 2023 was more than 30% higher per capita than Los Angeles and more than double Houston.
Wow.
And what do New Yorkers get for
Nothing.
this? Look at New York City schools, the largest school district in the country.
The worst schools in the country.
The city's education budget has climbed while enrollment has shrunk.
What a scam.
The DOE budget has risen from roughly $34 billion in 2019 to over $40 billion, while the DOE says per student spending is projected to reach nearly $35,000
That's like a college education.
2026, among the highest in the nation. The outputs, graduation numbers, test scores, and reading levels
terrible.
Are at best middling, often comparable to places that spend a fraction of what New York does. Now come the taxes, because every political...
But that's how people can vote for somebody that wants to come in and tax the rich. They've been taught nothing. The people throwing the snowballs in the park and attacking NYPD officers went to these schools. They graduated and they believe that the police are the problem. They believe that America's the problem. They believe that if you're successful and you start a business and you're able to buy a home, that you should be punished for it because you cheated the system, you've disenfranchised people, you've helped no one. That's literally what they think. And the mayor is a representation of what the people here think.
For high earners, the combined state plus city income tax reaches 14.776%. Add federal taxes and the combined marginal rate can exceed 50%, reaching roughly 55% on certain investment income.
And then you're paying rent.
Tax rates comparable to European countries that provide in return universal health care, free college education, and amazing infrastructure. New Yorkers get some 300 miles of sidewalk sheds.
300 miles
of sheds. On business taxation, the city is also off the charts. The Citizens Budget Commission reports that New York City business activity faces the country's highest combined corporate tax rate.
And that's going to go up too. Now look, taxes. What a boring conversation. But you got to understand something. Every single person that wants to go out and attack the police, they're going to need money to fund their lifestyle. They're going to need money for their rent. They're going to need money for their groceries. And you know what? If they're not starting businesses, they're going to be working at one. And if those businesses get punished, they've got less money to help people afford life in the city. So all of this is an unaffordability crisis that the city is facing. And raising these numbers, impacting your businesses, impacting your homeowners, impacting your achievers, if you want to call people that have come here and accomplished something, that's just going to drive them out. It's going to push them away. And then who's going to hire the people in the park attacking the cops? Maybe the police force will hire them.
17.44% once state, city, and regional layers are stacked. Mamdani wants to hike income and corporate rates even further, or else he says he will raise property taxes by almost 10%. Property taxes already made up more than 27% of the cost of home ownership in the city as of 2022, above the national average. New York is really a prime example of a problem Democrats seem unwilling to confront. Blue cities are out of control, promising more, spending more.
But that's because this is what the voters want. You know something? New York City's actually lucky that we got Zoran Mamdani. At least he sounds reasonable when he goes on his socialism tour talking about all the free stuff we're going to get. We could have got somebody who doesn't sound so reasonable and believes the same things or even more extreme versions of the same things, because that's what the voters here want.
If the state legislature does not pass his wealth tax, a flat tax on those earnings those earning more than $1 million,
a flat tax,
he vows instead to impose a 9.5% property tax.
It's the first flat tax we've ever had in America.
More than 100,000 commercial
It's just only
buildings.
for rich people.
The Partnership for New York City is a business advocacy group representing more than 300 top businesses. We're joined by Steve Phillip.
Yeah.
He is the partnership's new president and CEO.
Don't come here and
to the
start
show.
one. Don't do it.
New position here. What are you hearing from New York City's biggest businesses? Well, let's call them New York's biggest employers about either of
they're
Mayor
leaving.
Mamdani's tax plans.
They're trying to get out.
Well, so we have 800,000 employees collectively within kind of the partnership umbrella. So it's the largest employers that you would think of, names that you know. And people are generally concerned. I mean, the administration has been in place for 2 months, and we've had conversations around income tax increases, corporate tax increases, now property tax increases. So, if you're looking for a place to invest, you tend to look for places with certainty. And the environment right now in New York City is anything but certain.
No, it is certain. I disagree. It's certainly headed in the wrong direction. There are certainly going to be higher taxes for somebody. And if you have a business here, it's certainly going to be harder to attract people to come to New York and want to work at your business, because whatever salary you offer them, well, the local government's going to take a cut of that. And then when these people go out and try to find an apartment, the rent's $5,000 a month. If they buy a home, the taxes just went up. Good luck hiring people to work at your business here. You can't even staff it. You're going to be paying through the roof in labor, and your employees are going to get nothing for it. They're not even going to come.
Well, look, I think that there is real concern around, New York City policies moving far and far to the left and being less competitive relative to Texas, Florida, and other states.
That's what the voters want.
For the first time, you see more financial service jobs in Texas than you do in New York. People don't realize that. And many of the CEOs, we represent the largest corporations. It's only the large corporations. And many of them are saying that their plans for growth and expansion in New York are really put on the back burner now as they explore elsewhere.
No growth. You hear that? No economic growth. That means no jobs. That means no expansion. That means no new opportunity. It does mean that those three things are going to happen somewhere else. And what that's going to do is that's going to tell people, hey, don't go to New York unless you want to be part of the mob that attacks police in the park. This is the only part of the country where you can accomplish that. If you want to accomplish something else that might actually benefit your future, well, you're going to have to do that somewhere else.
Like I said, I think a lot of the rhetoric at a city hall is concerning. It's still early days, so hopefully, we get to right the ship over the next couple months. But
how's that going to happen?
We're kind of wait and see.
How can you do that when the voters want this?
Tax hike plan, you could look at it as a threat, or you could look at it as, in essence, an inevitability.
Yeah. There it is.
Because there is a hole, and by June, he, by law, needs to balance the budget. Are you bracing your members for something like this?
Well, look, he originally said there was a $12 billion gap, and we said the same day that we don't think there's a $12 billion gap. And then a couple days later was revised to $7 billion based on Wall Street overperforming. We think that $7 billion is going to shrink further as collections come in April, and you'll see that gap be relatively small. But, obviously the rhetoric is concerning. And, there's a bigger picture that, Texas embraces the energy industry. California, despite being regulated very heavily, embraces the tech industry. Massachusetts, biotech. When you think about financial services here in New York, the success is often met with skepticism.
Right, because those are the people who have cheated the system. Those are the people who are part of the problem. You see, if anybody who does anything that is remotely connected to the right side of history, those people are all the problem. They're the status quo. They're the part of America that's kept us down forever. When that is where the engine of success in America has come from. The engine of success in America doesn't come from lawlessness. It doesn't come from attacking the law abiding. It doesn't come from attacking police. It comes from accomplishing things. And if this city doesn't want to accomplish things, if it wants to be a place for those who are determined to accomplish nothing, unless it's illegal, we're going to have big problems. What do you think about that? I will see you in the next video.